having a nap.
Found him like this.
Yeah, he was like freaking out. She goes, "Did he watch the movie on TV?" He didn't watch any TV.
Which, no, he's 9. He watches all the TV.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If he didn't watch any TV at all, that alone makes you go see the doctor.
He didn't watch TV in, I don't know, you were gone for a couple hours at least, and he didn't watch any TV. You're just, no. Well, remember, this is a time before we had 24-hour children's programming. My guess is he was not a big fan of Judge Wapner. You know?
You got tapes, right? You got tapes of things, no?
No, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of fucking People's Court. Because I wanted to watch fucking TV, and if it was noon and I was home, that's what I was watching. I watched a shit ton of People's Court.
So she calls Chase, like, hey, Dylan's freaking out, and he freaked out this morning, and I'm freaked out. And there was another phone call, and shit's going down at the house. You gotta come home.
And by the way, why didn't you tell me you were working on Under the Glove? I don't know.
I have no answer.
Yeah, I got nothing.
It's one of those husband moves where you're like, fuck, checkmate. I don't know, honey. Yeah, sorry. And also, you see the glove there. And so he's just like, all right, I got to fucking split. And he goes and tells everybody I'm out. And then when he leaves, the fucking glove's gone. Oh, shit. Now, he's about to be narcoleptic. We'll get to that in a minute. But because it's Dylan's having a nightmare. Or not a nightmare. He wants her to. He's really enthusiastic about her reading Hansel and Gretel. Yeah,
so so she's reading Hansel and Gretel, and it's getting to the gory parts, and she's just like, God, why do you like this?
And this is probably the tame version of it.
It is
the actual.
Yeah, if you get to the original ones, which are really, really, really hard to come by. Maybe want to go out and buy them just because I'm like, when is it going to be banned?
Yeah.
Because these were
horrifying.
Yes, every children's story that we all know and love technically are unbelievably fucking horrifying if you ever read the originals. For instance, let's go with the one I can think of right now, Cinderella, where all her stepsisters try and fucking all wear the slipper. Do you know how they try? They cut their own toes off.
Yep.
To try and fit into the slipper. And then when Cinderella fucking wins and everything like that, and she becomes a thing, and all those bluebirds that were braiding her hair, she has them peck their eyes out. I love children's stories from back in the day.
Well, we thought that,
Yeah. It was normal.
Germans.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the Brothers Grimm did that, but maybe. But anyway, so she fucking is reading the story, and she's just like, all right,
and
time
she
for
even
bed.
commentaries like, kid, this is pretty violent.
Yeah.
Also, Heather...
Yeah,
you've probably read this story. It's clearly one of his favorites, so
you
know
how
how violent this is.
And like, why is it today that you're just like, you know what? Today's the day I'm making a stand. But then she's just like, I'm not finishing this because you're fucking creeping me out. And then he finishes it
in the most creepiest way possible for a child to do that.
He just goes into a trance and fucking says the whole thing, and she's just like, okay. and then he's just like, And
again, you don't immediately call psychiatric.
Because then.
Professional!
Yeah, and then she gets up and tries to leave, like, okay, that's enough, creepy little bastard. And he grabs a hold of her hand and is just like, no, finish. It's important. She's like, my kid
so she does
just made me
shit
myself. Yeah. Like, fucking, I need a young priest and an old priest. And then she just goes, Dylan, you know as well as I do. They follow the breadcrumbs and come home, and then he gets all back to being a sweet kid again, and their father covers him with kisses. I'm like, yeah, fuck off, little bitch.
Jesus Christ, how do you go from that?
Yeah.
I think my child might be bipolar.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk away from this fucking thing now, and then, that's when he tells her, I believe this is when he tells her about Rex.
Yeah, the guardian.
Yeah, and he's just like, and she's like, what's this? Because he's got a big fucking bump underneath the bed, and he goes, well... Follow me underneath the covers, which was very symbolic for Wes, which comes into play later on. And then he just sort of goes, is like, well, because Rex had been slashed. That's why he's freaking out, because Rex's toy dinosaur, I should have said, has been slashed, and they sewed him up. And then he's just like, well, this is Rex. He's guarding. Like, he's here. He stops the mean man from coming up. And then he's like, he sits here, I keep my toes up here, and then Freddy won't get him. And he's like, all right, well, he doesn't say Freddy, but he's like, the mean man won't get him. And then she goes, well...
With the claw.
Yeah, the mean old man with the claws. And then they crawl over, and she goes, Dylan, there's nothing there. And she shows him the ground, and there's nothing there. And he just looks at her in that very ominous thing that only fucking kids can do. It's different when you're gone. Ugh. I don't like that. But then she gets up and, walks away, and... she's just hanging out. And this is when we get narcolepsy.
Yeah, Chase is driving home.
Because Chase is driving home.
And all of a sudden, he's singing Losing My Religion.
Well, because he's already falling asleep.
Yeah.
So he's already asleep. And we're getting the liquid seat where the claws are coming up from the seat and it scratches him in the crotch. The liquid was intended, they actually intended it to look like that. No,
I'm laughing because we get a full-on him just
giving
himself a scratches. And I'm like, was that necessary?
Yeah. In the Never Sleep Again documentary, he complains because he's like, I would have never scratched my balls like that. And then gets up and shows how he would do it. And I gotta tell you, it looked about the same, so I'm sorry.
There's only so many ways
David
you can scratch your balls.
David Newsom, you are lying, sir.
That's exactly how you would scratch your balls.
That's exactly how you did scratch your balls. But then again, he's narcoleptic. Like, I'm sorry. You left the house at what, 8, 9 a.m.? It's 7, 8. You can't stay awake? What the flying fuck? Why is everybody in a nightmare film? Why isn't No, he said it was 3 hours.
Yeah.
He was only going to be on the road for 3 hours. Why is everyone... And your kid's having a fucking meltdown. Your shit's going down. It might be pretty easy to stay awake. Also, you don't have a CD player. You have a really nice new truck. You don't have a CD player to put on fucking music. You have to listen to the radio. Like,
he's singing fucking R.E.M.
He starts singing Losing My Religion and scratching his balls. And... Like, this is how apparently he stays awake. And then the fucking claw comes up, stabs him in the chest, and he runs off the road, and we're done here. So, and then of course we cut to Heather waking up. And she's
as
startled.
Soon as he dies,
she's startled.
I'm guessing, feel like, what are you, a Jedi?
No, I think she saw it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think they were implying. They never imply that she actually did, but I think that's what they're going for. So
the cops are at the door. Well, she hears a knock at the door, and again the whole ominous like, who's at the door? And then it's the cops.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, are you Heather?
Are you Heather Langenkamp? Yes. Your husband was Chase Porter. They immediately say was. No. Oh, no, they don't. No, sorry. They do say your husband is Chase Porter. And she goes, yeah. And then she sort of goes, well, he was in an accident. He's okay, right? Is he hurt? Yeah. Well,
it's a little worse than that.
A little worse than that, ma'am. Oh, fuck.
I'd use a word other than little, officer. Because the difference between hurt and deceased is a wide margin.
Now, I don't think you should refer to it as maybe DED, dead, but you can find another word in there. I mean, yeah, he dead.
He gone.
He gone. And then she says, I want to see it. What? I want to see the body. No, I was right the first time. What?
Ma'am, that's not exactly how this works.
I want to go.
Although, not
if they know who he is.
Oh, okay.
Like, because his face wasn't fucked up. It was just his chest, and he's got his wallet and everything like that. That's how they found her.
Yeah. By the way, if it was a car accident, when we do see the body, it would have been a lot more mangled than it was.
Yeah. They don't, again, we don't question these things, I guess.
Because she goes to the morgue.
So she goes to the morgue.
And fucking Kenny from Scream is like, I'll take this one.
Which is one of my favorite things, and Wes did this deliberately. Because he's got, like, when she's walking in, there's people crying and freaking out. But when she walks into the morgue, Kevin's fucking sitting there with a sandwich and a drink, just eating while they're fucking hosing out hosing into some dead person. He's just sitting there with a sandwich laughing. And then she shows up and goes, hi.
Yeah, because they'll look at her like, oh, ma'am, you're not supposed to be
like,
here.
You're not here. Okay. And then she's like, Chase Porter. And he goes, yeah. And he throws the sandwich aside and fucking, I'm like, this is hilarious. And then he walks her over to the body, and he pulls the sheet back.
Just trying to think, was this guy eating in Vampire Brooklyn as well when he was the cop?
I would bet money.
You have this guy eating all the time.
I'd bet money on it. He was in the 90s, and he was fat. Yes, he was probably eating in a movie, because that's all you did in the 90s. So they go to the body, pulls back the sheet a bit, and she pukes
Face
up.
Perfectly fine, by the way.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't puke just yet.
Oh, no, right. It was the second time. But yeah, so she's just like, oh my God. And then he covers it up and is like, I'm
going to need you to sign this.
Not yet. That's after. And then he's sort of like, she goes, I want to see more. He goes, qu'est-ce que c'est? I want to see some more. He's like,
listen, lady, I don't want to kink shame here, but...
It was a car accident. You don't want to see this. And she's just like, those look like slash marks. He goes, yeah, it was a bad wreck. I don't know what to tell you. And then she's like, I want to see... And he pulls it back again. And she goes, more. And he's like...
Lady, how low do I have to go here?
Yeah, he's hesitating. I'm like, bitch, crazy. And then she pulls it back herself and sees the slash marks. Again, only 4.
Yeah.
And then this is when she pukes up the combination of clam chowder and I believe some kind of bean stew, which Wes was like, wow, it sounded like it would be so pleasant. It was disgusting. So...
I love when he's down there on the floor, helping her clean herself up.
Yeah.
Fucking Chase's hand pops out. He's like, oh shit.
He's like,
back in there.
Fucking let's pretend that didn't happen.
But yeah, like, his face was fine.
Yeah. It was
his arms were fine. Yeah. Like, he was already blue or whatever, but like...
I mean, my guess is Freddy manipulated it so that it was only the scar so that she could see what was going on, because that would be the only thing that would make sense.
Because in reality, he would have just, like, his arm would have been over here, his leg would have been over there. And...
he might have been missing some limbs.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was perfectly clean other than the slash marks.
So we cut to the funeral. Hard cut to the funeral.
Yeah. And we see...
it's a who's who.
Yeah, it's the entire Nightmare franchise. I'm like...
of who's that?
In all fairness, though, again, like, the only one asked was Tuesday night to show up at the funeral scene. She doesn't fucking know Heather Langenkamp, so why would she be at the funeral? They never worked together. She was the replacement Kristen. She was not in the third one.
She was in the fourth one, so...
Yeah. There's no reason.
I don't know. Respect for someone who is also in the Nightmare franchise.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
But Sue Garcia being there, that makes sense.
That makes sense, because they were friends. Robert being there, I assume they're friends... You know,
or
John Saxon.
Friendly.
At least they've known each other
John
enough
Saxon
that they would go.
Friendly.
Absolutely.
You know? Like right. I don't see her or John Saxon or her or Robert Englund hanging out on the weekends.
Although I think they do now. Her and Robert, at least. John Saxon doesn't live in California, from what I'm told, so he doesn't see any of these assholes.
And then a massive earthquake happens.
Yet another earthquake.
Like biblical.
Yeah, and apparently. Of everything that's going on, the one thing that makes Heather trip is Rex. The fuzzy-ass dinosaur.
Yeah.
She slips on Rex and falls into the casket, which is dropped.
Well, not the casket,
into the hole.
that like, metal bit thing.
Both. It's the hole.
Yeah.
She falls into the hole because the casket has fallen down. She falls in, and then she falls into it. Oh, no, sorry.
No,
Dylan falls in, too. And then she jumps in chasing after Dylan. And then... in a fantastic scene that cuts away way too quickly, David, the fucking actor, Chase's body comes to life and says, "Stay with me, Heather." What I barely noticed is that his eyes are bleeding. Mm-hmm. Focus on that a little more. Show that a little better, please. That would have been amazing looking. And then you see Freddy grabbing a hold of him.
First image of Freddy, I think.
Yeah, the first full image of Freddy we've seen, and we hear... the laugh, and they're literally ADRing every line of Freddy in this movie. Mm-hmm. So you're hearing it all over the joint. It's kind of the same. It's the same thing they did in for a more modern take of Dark Knight Rises with Bane, where it just sort of comes in every part of the speakers, which is great. And she pulls Dylan back, and he sort of slinks away, and his claw sort of drags across the bed part of the fucking casket. And the reason I brought that up is it always looks like the claws are made out of nothing. Because to me, the way that the fringe in it is moving, it looks like the claws are moving as well. So it always looks weird to me. But anyway, they wake her up, and she was just knocked unconscious from falling and hitting her head on the bar thing.
Yeah.
And then the funeral's over, the priest just says, "Let's just get home safely and fuck y'all." And she's just like, oh my god, and then Robert Englund pops up and does more of his whisper acting of, "If there's anything you need, Heather. Anything." So, thank you, Robert. And then...
thanks, creepo.
Yeah, creepy man. But, yeah, so... and then we cut to her in bed with Dylan again, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they eventually make their way downstairs. So he's freaking out downstairs, though. She's awoken because she hears some things in the kitchen.
She hears noises. Because also she's gotten a letter in the mail that had a letter written on a piece of paper. And then she just threw it in a drawer and forgot about it, as she has done with several of them. And then she just hears noises downstairs, so she just walks downstairs. And what happens is Dylan is standing there with Rex in his hand, walking around all these pieces of paper, saying, "Never sleep again, never sleep again, never sleep again." And it says, on the ground, "Answer the phone," in all those letters. And then she sees that, and the phone fucking rings. And then this is when Freddy speaks up and just says, "I touched him. and it becomes the tongue from the original.
With the same effect, that little sound effect?
Exactly.